Haven't you heard? I'm a fascist. Which means I believe that only the most fashionable should be in charge of us. You know, like the...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a wonderful night tonight. We are joined by Deskpop. How is your night going, sir?
Doing good.
Fantastic. Great to hear. Richard, are you with us now?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Sweet. Today, we are going to be discussing the oft talked about Kraken Group, I think is their name.
I think
hypothetically
the Kraken company. Yeah, the Cracker company.
It might sound like certain other companies that exist in the world, but most of what we're going to be discussing today is hypotheticals and all sorts of fun behind the scenes stuff that may or may not have a lot to do with being scummy and back end dealings in the gun industry today. All right. So first thing we probably want to talk about is Deskpop. For those of you who are not familiar, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I am a guy who makes videos with two of my friends on YouTube about guns. That's what we do.
Well, that's not all. You guys make entertaining, good-looking content.
We do honest reviews, and I spend a lot of time and money making the videos. So, and I try to make them enjoyable. And in my last one, I made fun of Hop, and he didn't say anything, which is good. So,
good shape. I haven't watched the last one yet, so I haven't seen it yet. All right, let's go ahead and so the Leviathan stuff kind of kicked off for me beginning of last year, I want to say. Around when I think the first thing that I did on them was making fun of Garantham in a meme about them for him talking about, taking money for positive reviews or whatnot. And then I basically just put the Leviathan logo in the background of it while he was saying it. So that was my thing about Leviathan. Leviathan's been talked about a lot in the gun industry. I think years and years ago, I think Lucas Botkin actually went after them just for lack of disclosure or different things like that. And it's kind of like a meme, like, oh, you're new in the gun industry and now you're working for Leviathan. Right after you reach a certain level, it's like straight to Leviathan. That's where you go. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, Leviathan is a marketing agency. It's probably the best way to describe them. They connect companies with individual content creators for certain packages. Why don't you go ahead and, for those of you who don't know, you worked with Leviathan for about a year. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, we were like, full disclosure, we were signed with Leviathan. We never really hit it. I had a Leviathan patch on the back of my play carrier, so anyone who paid attention could see that we had the Leviathan rep. And yeah, we were with them for just over a year. Basically, we signed on with 30K subs, and then we had 50K subs, and we finally signed on. But yeah, we just ended our agreement. I don't know when that was. Was that September? I think I sent you the email. No,
Yeah, so the original agreement with us was, I think, September 1st, 2023.
Yeah, so I think we literally were on for exactly a year with Leviathan, and then we got dropped. So it's not that we opted out. We did get dropped. We kind of forced them to drop us, but we got dropped. And then it was just like the promise when you're a small creator is that they'll get you in contact with the big creators, and it'll get you collabs. That was our big thing. I think I sent you the email chain, but I was just like, we're looking to get collaborations with bigger channels because we live in Washington, which is like a not good state to live in for guns.
No, not at all. Because I was there, for 27 years. I moved 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
When all that stuff was kicking off. So
it's it's hard to work with people. We're not really close to anyone, and when people come out here, it's pissing rain 99% of the time. So including today. And so they just promised us collabs, and that was the big thing we wanted. It wasn't really like a monetary thing. I fund the channel with my own income, and that was kind of the end goal, was to just get the collabs. So we didn't get those.
So here, let me pull up their current website, which is this one right here. So if you're not familiar with, again, Leviathan has the big, of course, Leviathan as their moniker, a little bit on the nose, if you ask me personally, but they're involved with lots of things. The owner is a big fan. Well, they just are. It's not alleged. It's on the website. You can see it. That's the nice thing. I do like that they actually put their talent on the website, right? This is alleged, right? So I mean, they're big fans of a lot of the UFC fighters. I think the owner, Jake, is friends with people like Dave Bautista and some other gentlemen. And you can see it's very heavy into UFC and then gun stuff. That's like the two main categories. There's some other like political content creators and whatnot on there, but a lot of the usuals are going to be on here. Even my boy, it's a Gundam. Sad days. But you sent me this link a little earlier. This is the old website, which looks a little different. The old website has a few more big names on it. So as you may or may not notice, on the actual thumbnail, a lot of those guys are no longer featured on Leviathan's website. They have, in fact, left. So this is the old tab, which is going to have a few more names due to the handy-dandy Wayback Machine.
Yeah, I think I'll pull up the list here. Did I send you the list?
Let me see. It should be right here. Let me grab it.
They lost a surprising amount of people.
Yeah, and surprising names in there, too. So you have Civilian Tactical and Johnny Q, who are like kind of the memes of the gun industry. They do shorts content and, a bunch of other silly stuff, but they pull in a lot of views. A lot of views.
They sell a lot of product. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I kind of think what we're going to talk about later, there's a reason why they probably left, which is probably similar to yours. Kentucky Ballistic, or no, not that one, sorry. Code Blue Cam, Administrative Results, Texas Plinking, Warrior Poet Society, Grand Thumb, and Terran Tactical have all since left Leviathan. And why don't we go ahead and talk about their contract with you, allegedly?
Yeah, the if we had a contract with them, it would look something like promised. Yeah, here we go. It would look something like this. This is like potentially what it might look like if we had one.
Yeah, this is a Behemoth Assembly or Kraken Group LLC, whichever one you personally prefer. If we had a contract that we could look at, if such a thing were to exist and we had one. Indeed, Vintage Warfare says the Monolith Network, Juggernaut Alliance. Yeah. So I'll go for it.
Yeah, we signed on. Man, we started talking to them in August, September.
Well,
and we
that's the
signed on.
contract was signed in September
And
1st.
then-
And I think it ended October 31st. So it was like right at 13, 14 months.
Yeah. And then kind of the alleged paid review scandal, I would say, hit its peak in January of last year, I think. January, February, around that time. It was like the beginning of last year. And I remember talking to our rep at that time because, you know, people have seen our reviews. You know how we do things. I don't pull punches at all. Not even a little bit. And that was one of those where I was like, we're on their website, right? My name's attached to this. So I'd asked them 10 times to make a statement being like, hey, we don't pay for good reviews. I'm like, just anything like that, any sort of statement where you're like, hey, we don't do that. I'm like, because right now we're attached to Leviathan Group. That negative tone is attached to the Leviathan Group. Even if it's not true, even if it's just alleged, it still affects my reputation and my image. Which I feel
100%.
like is the most important thing when I'm a reviewer, is that people understand that I'm just doing this to tell the truth. It's not a money-making scandal.
If they can trust what you're actually saying.
Yeah, because if you can't trust what I'm saying, I'm wasting my own time and money. There's like no reason for me to be doing videos. So they did not make a statement, and I was not the only creator that was frustrated with that. I think a lot of them were frustrated with that.
Well, I've talked to a couple, not like Reno May was also attached to Leviathan Group, and a couple other guys in the chat actually were as well at one point or another. But there was a lot of crossover and like friendly fire.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably, to be clear, explicitly paid positive reviews are very unlikely. Very,
Correct.
very unlikely. In certain situations, possibly true, but with Leviathan, it's probably a little bit more subversive than that, so to speak. So, for instance, if you have content creators, a wide variety of content creators, and you have a company, let's use Springfield as an example, because I know Springfield handed out a lot of guns to people who are going to give them very positive reviews, all right? But if I'm the marketing company and I'm going to be handing out different contracts to different people for review, I'm not going to give Desk Pop a Springfield M16A2 clone. That's probably not going to run. Not going to do that, right? I might send it over to somebody like Johnny Q, who actually did get one of those. Not saying that that is a paid review, but that he is going to be much less harsh on it, and he's going to be much more positive in general than somebody who's going to shoot 10,000 rounds to it, right?
Right.
So I know as
a better ROI for them too, because they
100%.
Yeah, and so that's kind of why
it's
we saw
skews
happen.
where like. And so even if you're in that pool, so to speak, doing the right thing, that water that you're in, just by being in that Leviathan brand, kind of gets tainted. Even if there is no actual, like, legit, you will say positive XYZ about our product, or we will terminate you type of thing going on. Because, to be clear, that's not in the contract.
Right.
None of that language is in the contract whatsoever. Now, it's possible that there's closer workings with some of the bigger guys, some of the bigger accounts. It's possible that, in certain sectors that people might get to that line.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like if you want a good review on your gun, you just send it to Coleon and you get a good review because every gun's the best gun he's ever shot, So it's like, paid for good reviews. Yeah, anything Coleon reviews is a good review. So, I think what we all saw happening is just like, as you saw, we didn't get jobs, and then we were told and the same thing you said, friendly fire. We were told hey, Leviathan tribe's tight knit. We didn't interact with any of the people in Leviathan tribe. PSR is the exception. PSR is the homie. But and then we did the SDI video. As you know, you did one too.
Right.
And after that, we did not receive a single contract. And also, we got told that we wouldn't receive flack from Leviathan Tribe creators because they wouldn't tolerate that. And then the Unsub podcast went on a 30-minute rant calling our channel a little channel full of hate.
That was a weird one.
Yeah.
That was strange. Yeah, because that whole ordeal happened around that same time, too. Yeah, that was quite funny. And then he almost threatened people, which was, again, just very strange.
Unintentionally almost threatened. Allegedly to take our no, he did. He threatened to take our channel down. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't get it. I didn't get that one. So to be SDI ads, were they run through Leviathan Group?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that would create quite a conflict of interest because that video that you put out did quite well. What's it up to now? Almost 500,000 views, something like
Yes,
that.
something like 500,000 views.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did very, very well, which was great because people should know that SDI is.
Well, I get
money.
comments
That's
every
my
day
opinion.
from people who are commenting, and they're like, "I'm in SDI and I'm dropping it because I agree with this video." So
Mhm.
it's actually served its purpose. Like, there's a lot of people who are frustrated with SDI's education, and now that's a sounding board for them because SDI paid. The website I used is like College EDU, and they do the online college reviews.
Mhm.
SDI paid them to take their whole page down now, so you can't even see it. Yeah,
No,
you can't see it anymore. It's gone. They paid them to take it off. So
I didn't. That's insane.
that's a fun one. Yeah, the
I thought
Wayback
they had
Machine will
nothing
tell
to
you.
hide. I thought they were a good service.
They're great. I don't know
They were a
what's
good service.
happening. Yeah.
You know who
Gone.
I had come? I don't know if I want to talk about it. I had one of the big SDI guys come after me the other day for it, and it's quite comical because he's also sponsored by them. So I was like, all right, buddy. But
Yeah.
we'll move on from the SDI stuff because people have heard about the SDI stuff for a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, I mean, I think that played a role, right? Because then we didn't. Then that spirals into like what caused our, I guess, I mean, our termination from Leviathan Group. After that, I mean, we've been trying to work with Gideon Optics for 5.5 months, and we didn't get an offer for 5.5 months. So not only is our marketing agency, our agent, not giving us work at all, but I'm trying to get a company that wants to work with us that we really like. Like I've told you, I really like the Gideon guys. I like what they're doing in the industry, and more importantly, their warranty is really good and easy to use. Which to me, who breaks stuff all the time, that's a big deal. If I smash an optic, being able to replace it. And so I'd done that independently and tested their warranty, and I still encourage people to test their warranty if they break stuff. But yeah, we work with them, and yeah, they reached out to Leviathan Group, and Leviathan started doing this thing that they told us about, and this is all allegedly, right? Because this is where it gets a little bit tricky. But
right. So the following is not in writing.
The following is not in writing. It is from in-person conversations over the phone and at events, and from multiple sources, not just one company, because I have confirmed it with 2 other companies that I'm pretty close with. But the way it worked is when Leviathan, and it's in the contract, when Leviathan negotiates for you, they take 10%. And so when you sign on as a small creator, you'll read this and you'll be like, oh, cool, they take 10%. This makes total sense, right? They make they make 10%. So if I make $300, they make $30. That's totally fair because they're just billing people, right?
Right.
I'm doing all their content production. What they don't say in here is that it's anything they negotiate on your behalf, not gross compensation total. And so the jobs they're offering their creators, they're taking allegedly a lot more than 10% of. And so with Gideon, we had negotiated a contract, and instead of just signing that contract with them and saying, okay, we'll take our 10% cut, they were trying to convince allegedly Gideon to buy a much more expensive package, and they were calling it a package and guaranteeing clicks for that package.
So let's break it down to really get into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah.
So Leviathan and you have a contract together. I believe there is a 6-month dry phase period where either you deny all of their ad offerings or they don't offer you an ad in that 6 months. You 2 can terminate the contract, right? And then in terms of what they offer you, they're telling you they get 10% off the top, basically. So if a company's going to offer you $1,000, you think they're going to take 100 off the top, and then you get the 900, right? Or whatever it is. That's kind of what it's supposed to be. However, that is only for ad offers that they directly work on for you.
On your behalf. Yeah.
Correct. So what that means that is essentially, like you're going to say about Gideon Optics in just a second, is that if a company, let's just name any company out there, says, hey, we want XYZ package of big dollars, and then Leviathan will take that money and then might separate that through different content creators, but that's not a 10% split. That money is kind of nebulous. So let's talk about the Gideon Optics one.
Yeah. So yeah, at the point that a company gives them, X money for a marketing thing, well, then Leviathan becomes a business. And the business is in the business of making money. And so what they do is they offer all the creators the lowest amount they can offer them to get the most amount of clicks for the dollar, because they get to pocket the rest when they complete their contract. So with Gideon, theoretically, in theory, they were trying to get them to buy packages that started at $25,000 instead of just signing us for a small, much smaller amount of money every month.
Well, so to be clear, you were talking with Gideon, but like you're supposed to go through your agent, which is Leviathan. They're your signed agent. So you're like, okay, let's do it. Let's work together, but let's go through Leviathan, right?
Yep.
And we'll do this dollar amount. They'll take 10% off the top and I get the rest. But instead, Leviathan's like, nah, I'd rather take way more from you, like a very expensive ad package.
Exactly. Yeah, because we had sorted it out with Leviathan, everything down to the dollar amount. And it wasn't, it's not like a crazy amount. It's just I'm tired of doing the 30-second ad reads in videos. I think that they distract people and I think they suck. Everyone taps through them. I tap through them.
I do the same thing every time I say I'm sorry.
I don't blame you.
Video,
you should tap through them. And I'm like, this got to be a better way. I like their products. Like, I'll incorporate your product into my videos and give you a banner. So that way people can see our optics. They can see your optics getting abused for the next year, for the next 6 months in our videos, getting just trashed, and be like, oh, they actually run. All right, I'm going to do it. Right. And they don't get spammed with a 30-second ad. They just get a billboard, which Grantham, thank you, Grantham, actually, for
it works way better.
Yeah. Piloting the billboard for SDI, and it clearly works. It grows companies.
Well, now it's Primary Arms. Primary Arms.
Oh, Primary Arms.
Yeah.
So that's the billboard thing. So that's what we had worked on with them. And yeah, we couldn't get a contract dialed in. And that was, I met them at TriggerCon and we talked about it. And then we met them at a shoot in Colorado and nothing came of it. And meanwhile, I'm texting my agent and I'm like, hey, do we have that, the Gideon Optics? And he's just like, oh, whatever, I'm working on it. And then, you know how they are when they're not trying to work with you, they'll flake. And so, yeah, we finally just got frustrated and I went, all right, my buddy has a ad agency. I haven't gotten any offers for 6 months. I'm like, we'll just send you an invoice and we'll go through with it on that way. And I'm like, and we'll just set it up and we'll run it, because at this point I'm, 5.5 months dry with nothing paying the channel bills. And you've seen my content. It's not,
well,
it's not
the annual bill alone is
so
yeah. Well, most YouTubers, if you can get away with a even split, like, you're doing pretty well.
If I can break even, I'm happy. Or if I can pay for
doing
ammo,
other things,
I'm happy. Yeah,
that too.
And
that too. Right.
That's like my biggest thing is, I mean, our cameras aren't cheap. I just bought a slow-mo camera, so we have north of
that gets expensive very fast. Yeah, Hootie was in the chat. He says Leviathan has 4 or 5 dudes they love and make a lot of money. Everyone else they rip off and waste their time. So to kind of break it down a little bit, essentially you had negotiated with Gideon a smaller amount.
Yeah.
Right. A reasonable amount. However, so instead of giving you a good amount of money and taking their cut off the top, by trying to upsell them to this insanely expensive ad package, they essentially took all of your money away, right? That you could have gotten that. So they were, the idea is that they're supposed to be connecting you with brands. They're supposed to be helping you out. They're supposed to be putting money in your pocket, getting you paid for your work, so to speak. But in this case, they were actively they were working against you, basically.
They were actively working against us. So and Gideon will attest to this. We were used as literally a leverage point. Do you want to sign with Despop? Then you have to buy this thing. And we were a hard leverage.
Because you're exclusive. You're exclusive through Leviathan.
Exclusive through, there was no other option. You're exclusive through Leviathan. And literally trying to work with them. And what happens, that's why we got dropped. Allegedly, I definitely wasn't told in a phone call that the main reason we got dropped is because they were using us as a huge leverage point and they thought Gideon was about to fold. And I'm just out here okay, 6 months of me losing revenue. As far as I'm concerned, we could have had 6 months of revenue from Gideon. Those 6 months. And so as far as I'm concerned, they allegedly took money from me. In theory, that would be what I
would do. Well, they essentially, they got in your way rather than doing their job and helping you. They were a stumbling block, right? They're putting you, they're in the way. Well, right? And for you, that's how your model works. That's a huge deal.
Yes.
Right? Because I mean, even if we're talking like a few $1,000s here or there, to some people that may not sound like much, but that's a lot of ammo for a lot of videos.
Yep.
Right. And especially when you're doing this as a hobby, as your second gig, basically, right? And you're working a full-time job on the side, right?
Yep.
It adds up. It's a lot. It's a lot to take money out of your own pocket to do like fun informational videos.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, the more I get into it, the more expensive videos I want to do, and there still are. There's videos like that I have planned out that cost way too much money, and I'm just like, well, I can't touch that one yet, you know, because that's just too expensive. And so, you know, there is a goal for the channel. I'm not gonna lie, the end goal is make money, right? But right now, it's how much money can I dump into making the better content, and the less money I have access to, out of my pocket, right? I mean, I have to pay bills, so like at the end of the day, I still have to pay my bills and make the videos. So that's where it came into. And then we found out, like, I mean, it goes both ways because it's hurting companies. Because the other thing we discovered after discussing things with various companies that I won't name because I know that they would not be happy with me naming them, is Leviathan would also use people like us as a leverage point. Gun creates more than communism is capitalism.
It's capitalism. Well,
I mean, no, this is an exercise of capitalism, actually. So
correct, right? The gun community hates getting lied to, and they hate shills more than anything.
Yeah, I think they hate shills.
They love the drama surrounding shill. So if they can attack somebody, they're having a good day, right? So it's like my audience is a weapon, right? It just needs to be pointed a direction, and then they'll go, right? So they're just waiting for that. They're just waiting for that.
Yeah, and we found out what would happen is these companies would be promised creators, like say they really wanted, just hypothetically, say they really wanted Kentucky Ballistics to do an ad read. Well, Leviathan would say, well, look, we've signed Kentucky Ballistics, give us money for this $190,000 package, and this is all allegedly, we'll have Kentucky Ballistics do an ad read as part of our agreement. And then the thing with it is, as you saw in the contract, I can deny any ad read I want. So if I did a lot, because obviously shitty project, can I say that word?
You can say this stream. You can say whatever the heck you want. Like people have said,
you haven't been watching.
Yeah, if you
shitty projects are shitty products, and so I wouldn't. I was just like, no, we're not doing an ad on that, right? I'm not doing that slot. So that was the other thing. Like, obviously, I was a little picky, because I feel like my integrity is kind of on the line every time I do an ad read. So.
You mean you didn't want to take an ad read for mobile game number 124?
Dude, I would have taken an ad read for Raid so hard, and they would have been so pissed. But it would have been the best ad read everyone ever saw. But because that's when everyone knows is a scam anyway. So
yeah,
that is a funny one, yeah. Because there's a guy that I know that does YouTube or video game videos, right? And that's his thing. And he knows he's ragged on Raid Shadow Legends in multiple videos. And then when the ad sponsorship popped up in one of his videos, people are like, what are you doing? And it's like, listen, guys, you know that this is garbage. Don't buy this. Like, obviously, but they paid me like 10 grand to do this video. So like, I'm taking the cash and they're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what I said. So they would tell companies, hey, this creator will do it. And then I would turn it down, or, the creator would turn it down, but the company's already paid them the money. And so what they would have is what the company perceives as a failure to deliver on the contract, like a FTD on the contract. But the work with the creator is not in the contract. It's the clicks that are guaranteed in the or the engagement that's guaranteed in the contract. And so you have allegedly a bunch of companies who have what they think is unfulfilled contracts that creates what I would consider to be tension with creators who don't even know that they have an undelivered contract.
Right, because company B is like, hey, we paid you guys a lot of money, allegedly, to get this ad read from this guy, who then goes and turns it down, right? They're not talking to each other, right? There's this person in the middle, that's Leviathan. And so then, you see him at a trade show, or you're thinking about him later on, you're like, screw that guy, he turned down my ad read, or whatnot, right?
Yeah, it just hurts long term. Or alternatively, Leviathan will promise you X amount of clicks. Say they give it to a creator, and this is all allegedly, they pay the creator $350 for like an ad read or something, and then that video does 1.5 million views instead of the typical 20 to 30,000 views, and the creator doesn't get anything. Leviathan gets all their clicks, and so they pocket the rest of the money from the contract, and the company does not know. the company has no idea how much money you're getting paid to do that job because they just
Right.
bought a marketing package from Leviathan Group. So they assume with how much money they paid Leviathan, that you're getting paid really well. Like that's the assumption.
They would think so, right? So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. So let's say, I don't know, how specific do you want to be? Do you want to keep it very big, or do you want to go specific on it?
How specific do you? You can get specific. That's fine. You've seen the
Okay.
contracts.
So yeah. Well, I'm just talking specifically about the Wooks one. Do you want to talk
Yeah,
about the Wooks
you
one?
can
or
talk
do you
about
wanna
Wooks.
keep-
I
okay,
like the
okay.
people, so I'm glad it worked out for them.
Right, they got a good deal out of it, right? So you got paid $350
Yep.
for a Wooks ad read in a video that got 1.5 million views.
Long form,
Which
not
is-
short. Yeah.
Right, which is worth anywhere, depending on your cost per mile with YouTube, $3,000 to $5,000, right? So we have no idea what Wooks paid Leviathan to get that ad read in there. And then once they reach the click goal, right, of whatever that happens to be for that ad campaign, they just shut it off. So for instance, if it only took if that video magically got all the clicks required for that contract, the only thing that Leviathan would have had to pay out to content creators was $350 off of what could have theoretically been multiple tens of thousands of dollars. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
350
1.5 million views. What's a Garantham sponsor cost? Is it still $33,000 or something like that? So,
I've heard crazy numbers between 5 and 50K for different things. So yeah.
So, real quick for reference, the cheapest Wooks stock is almost $700. So that's just one stock. They're not even giving you half of one stock.
surprisingly, their AR furniture is cheap. It's actually like $500 for the whole set, which is what I tell everyone to get.
That's it.
And the wood doesn't overheat, so that's what's interesting that no one thinks about. The wood handguard doesn't get hot.
You know what? Now that's classy, because now I want a Wooks like IAR or something like that. Put that on a red right hand.
Did you
build.
see
That's
our
like
carry
a-
handle? Yeah, our carry handle
Yeah,
build
yeah.
with the Wooks. We were shooting it, and all our other guns are like overheating, and we're just like, Thomas took it. Thomas loves that gun, and so it's his baby now. I don't get it, but he's like, it's not hot.
It's
like,
cool. It's cool until it catches fire, right?
it's cool until I because it's just cold to the touch, and we're shooting a bunch of rounds, and mine's like overheating, and he's just like, oh, mine's good. He's like, this is great. So there are some advantages until it bursts into flames. Yes.
Yeah, so it's funny, just total side note, but I got distracted. Yeah, Randa and Poacher Brand were going back and forth in a video earlier, and I watched that video and then saw their comments, and now they're here in the chat going back and forth. So I hope you guys are having I hope you guys are having a great time fighting it out. All right, yeah, so yeah. Leviathan has a tendency to make a lot of money and not actually be good for the creators in some circumstances. And that's what we've heard from a lot of the guys that have worked with them, that have left. Like, I mean, you started out at that lower tier, probably, 30 to 50,000 subs, somewhere in that range. And then, a year goes by and you're now triple the size, but your contract rate hasn't changed.
Same amount of money every time. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a big point for us, because we realized, and I feel like they kind of prey on that, because the small creators are the ones who get the cheap clicks. Like, they really are. Like, that's where you get your cheap clicks from. Like, a small creator will do stuff for free too, like if I send a small creator a product, he's like, oh cool, I got a free product, that's perfect. And
people
when
are
you sell
extremely
20 of
excited.
them.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I'm honored that you would send me this $200 product. Now I'm going to go spend $500 producing this video. What a great day, right?
Well, and that's
At
literally
least you
me,
got something
right?
free.
So
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly how it goes, right? So even if I get something for free, rifles or whatnot from fans to test out, it's still a big investment of time, and the ammunition is probably the most expensive part. So
yeah, I think the bullets and time for me are the big thing. So
yeah, and then you have, like you said, your big expenses are going to be cameras and whatnot. I have put off that expense by not upgrading a camera in a decade. So going strong on my $600 Sony RX10 II.
I did media for a living until recently. So that was that was one of the things
Right,
I
so
just
you
had
already
to
had
keep
that
on better
built in.
gear anyway. Yep.
All
Joey's
right.
6'9" allegedly. I'll take that. I tell everyone I'm 5'8", but
I could look, because we met for like 12 seconds at SHOT Show, and I
We
can
did.
confirm that he's taller than me. So, but that's not saying too much. But I can confirm that he is taller than me. So, since all of this has kind of happened, the Leviathan thing has kind of never gone away. The stigma has never gone down, right? In fact, it's probably gotten a little bit worse, especially after like Garantha made a public announcement that he left, right? He was like, because I imagine that there was a good reason for him leaving, right? He had probably made a lot of money, but probably could have made a lot more, especially
Way more.
considering, yeah. Now, the top talent has kind of been reduced, but they still have some really big channels on there, some really big individuals or whatnot. I think they still claim like 35 billion views a month, something insane like that on their website.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have been bleeding some of their top talent, like we said. But let me see here.
I heard that Leviathan may allegedly be hurting for money at this point because they may have gotten screwed by a couple of companies who had contracts with them, who then either defaulted or outright just didn't pay, or in the case of one particular instance, went bankrupt and closed their doors entirely.
Yep. Allegedly, there's a lot of contracts that they have to pay out on that companies haven't paid them for as well.
Well, it seems that they may allegedly have enough money sitting back off of all of the rest of the contracts that they've done up to this point to actually pay the creators. But I don't know about that. Although if they're only paying them, $250 to $350 per gig, then they should have plenty of money to cover their contracts. I don't understand why it's such an issue for them.
So they cover the contracts with the creators, no problem. I mean, it never was a set. In the contract, I think it says 7 days. It was always like 15 to 30 days for us to get paid. It's never been 7. But no, they definitely have no problem fulfilling those contracts for the creators. I think the big issue hasn't been creators not getting paid as much as it has like creators realizing that Leviathan was allegedly not operating in their best interest, right? And there was no incentive for them to negotiate a higher rate. And then you get other companies come in, like we work with Boostcraft now, and Boostcraft is really honest. They go, we are taking this much money and you are getting this much money, which is what a content creator wants to hear. Like, that's what I want to hear when I'm working on a contract. I want to hear exactly how much money you're taking and how much I'm getting, right? Because if you're offering me $1,000, and right now, like, we've used them mostly just to run contracts through because I work full time and it's a pain to try to build these companies and just keep track of everything. And so to me, it's worth the 10% off the top to have someone else do the billing.
Well, yes, 10% is not a big fee, right?
No.
Especially like you would pay way more in other circumstances to have people actually negotiate on your behalf. And that's what is kind of the insidious nature of something like Leviathan, is because they were probably the first to do it, so they could get away with being bad for the longest, especially in this sphere. So ostensibly it's like, I want to get in contact with all these other people. I want to get, ad reads for my videos and actually start making money. And like, oh, these guys, they got all these other cool people. They're going to treat me right, and they're
that's
usually
the big star appeal, right? Because you want, and well, like I said, they promised us collabs with the big creators. And then guess what? All the collabs that we've had, or all the other conversations I've had, have not been a result of Leviathan making connections. It's always been us flying out to events and meeting these people and standard boots on the ground. So
that's usually, who did I get out of here? I just clicked Richard up. Yeah, I mean, that's usually how it goes. You actually have to go places to meet people. But
don't want me here, just kick me out. I'll go.
Well, sorry, no, I just missed it. Before we get to the termination, which I do want to talk about a little bit more in detail, let's knock through some of these super chats, because you guys have been insanely generous for a random reason on a Sunday evening. I hope you're all doing well today. I hope you went to church this afternoon or this morning. All right, Mitchell Black opens up for $1.99. Says gay.
Hey, no.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Black.
I've heard it. It's new.
No one you know of for $5 says, good evening, my non-cigars and Ricky Ricardo. Mitchell Black again says, please don't do the awkward GunTuber shtick desk pop. No, he's not awkward.
I don't know what that is, dude.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm on this channel, and I just want to say
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you for
no.
allowing me on. And
I'm
having
awkward
a
because
great
I have
time.
autism, not because
Right.
I think I'm quirky.
I don't have a choice in this matter.
I don't choose to
understand.
be this way, guys. So like,
let me see. Grand Thumb doesn't fact check for $9.99. Thank you, sir. It says Grand Thumb did vid today about gun used to defend nuclear reactors. Gun was used and designed for vehicles in nuclear escort vehicles. Try harder, GT. Yeah, his dude H&R is the next big one that everybody's going to be shilling because they're going to be putting out their new retro line. So, and I say shilling colloquially. You'll see a lot of videos on them. Not all will be lies.
they'll probably be good rifles.
I hope
that
so.
cost too much money. I hope they are. I won't be able to get one, but
people love the retro ones. So yeah, again, you're screwed out of that. You couldn't shill for it if you wanted to. Tap Rack Stovepipe for $1.99 says the company has lots of crackers and poppers. Talking about Kraken. No one you know for $2 says love your glamour shots, Hop. Yes, Hop is a fantastic male model. That's what he does to actually make money. Juicy Media, how's it going, sir? I didn't actually run into a Chacho, but I know we chatted a little bit. Says, damn, who's that desk pop stud?
Thanks, Tyler.
He's the one in the top right, sir. Logan sucks at shooting for $20. Absolutely unbelievable. Says, Washington, I'm sorry. Hopefully you move towards Eastern Washington so you can sneak over to Idaho and get non-cucked mags and stuff. I'll have to catch this stream on VOD later tomorrow. Hope you all have a great night. Well, thank you very much, Logan. I appreciate it.
Logan, I work in Seattle, so I am not in the good part of Washington.
No, that's the worst part. I was like an hour and 45 minutes south of Washington, right off the I-5 corridor, which was also bad. I mean, it's just meth and homeless people, but you know, that's Washington for you.
That's Washington.
Overton Windex for $10 says Despop Smithing School when?
You know, if we had a platform where we were allowed to post how to do stuff on guns, not YouTube, I would be doing videos on this because that's ARs are my big thing. I definitely know ARs really well. So I've built over 600.
What would that be? DPI, Despop Industries or something like that?
Despop Industry. Yeah, and it'd all be free. And you just have to deal with the fact that a guy who looks like me is your instructor, you know?
You know, what's funny is that kind of thing already exists, right? You can just go look up the YouTube videos for free or, you know, wherever they happen to be now, Rumble or Odyssey or something like that. Leviathan Hitman for $1.99 says, on our way. He says for $1.99 again, on our way. Allegedly. There's a few of these. This is good. There's comedians in the chat here. Leviathan Hitman for $4.99 says 547 watching, 200 Leviathan attorneys, and 150 PSA attorneys. They are ready to press that button. Well, hey, I didn't get any phone calls before this stream, so they're not as bad as Renzulli. So Leviathan Hitman for $4.99 says, oh, and one paralegal from Taurus watching, because that's all they can afford. That's good. That's good. Yukon for $1.99 says, getting started on LubeTube is very expensive.
Sure is.
Well, it depends what you're doing. A lot of content can be made for free.
If you don't do gun videos, it's actually really cheap. Yeah.
yeah. Guns or cars. Don't do guns or cars. It's very expensive. Yukon for $1.99 says, oh, I already read that one. My bad. But thank you, sir. An axe to grind for $1.99 says,
oh my,
it's nice to see more trans.
This guy's my favorite. If you click on his profile on my account, he's commented 13 times. Biggest Despop fan of all time. 13 times in a row. Always that comment. And it's the nicest. I'm like, I've never had a more dedicated person in my life commenting. You know? Every video, without fail, he comments, it's nice to see more trans men getting into fire. I don't know who he is, but I appreciate his...
No, he comments on a lot of my stuff too.
It's awesome.
But yeah.
I'm very happy that he's like... I feel like it means he's watching, you know? Which is all I can ask.
He's either love watching or hate watching.
I'll say that I do know that Despop goes through his comments and reads a lot of them, probably almost every one of them.
I try to respond to every comment. Yeah.
Because I left a random comment on a video that was several days old, just a quick joke. And within like an hour and a half, he found it and he hearted it.
Yeah.
So
I try my best.
I'm a nobody just cracking jokes. You know, that's all I'm here is just for the comedic relief and mild knowledge. But I try to keep up on things. And anybody who's actually engaging with their community is great, and actually doing it themselves, that's good.
That's either I'll be going through the comments, Max or Thomas. That's a big thing with me. No matter how big we get, we'll still do that. See, he's a big fan. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take it.
I got
That
on
makes
there.
me happy. I just really like that he commented on every one. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this guy actually watches my stuff. So, if he thinks I'm trans, that's great too, I guess. But, I got tight enough pants. I think people can tell I'm not. So.
Well, that was an earlier comment too. It was like people give Lucas crap, but they haven't. Oh, shoot, wrong button. But they haven't called out Despop yet. His tight pants wearing habits.
Because I embrace it. Yeah, I don't know. I think
Well, it's your Pacific Northwest. It happens,
it's required.
It's
So if
that
he
a
wants-
beanie and a bushy beard, like a straight down beard with like a twirly mustache.
I would take it as a compliment if he thinks you're trans and still watches and is your biggest fan.
Well, that's what I
Although
was saying.
maybe-
The dedication is what's impressive. I'm like, he obviously watches every video, so I'm happy with
Yeah.
that. He's a fan, so I'm like, I think that's amazing. Like, I have no complaints on that. So, and like I said, dude, I don't think we're big,
That's good.
and no matter how big we get, I mean, we're just gonna keep responding to every comment because that's what I would want, is be able to talk to a creator.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It gets a lot, but yeah, I try to.
Oh, yeah.
Unless somebody doesn't even have a question in there, I try to respond to basically everything. But yeah, an axe to grind says trans rights. Bulge
That's
deep
up to
in
Bro paid $10 for that too. That's
Yeah, I know.
awesome.
bulge deep in vaginas for $9.99 says Despop the twink. Unbelievable. Mitchell Black for $1.99 says Desk Bussy.
I like that one.
It's never gonna stop. They did the same thing to Trench last week. So
No, it's good.
Yukon for $4.99 says Despop. How many pesos to collaborate with you, senor?
I replied to him. I said that you are now a Focus Trip exclusive content creator, and he has to buy my package in
Cool.
order to get access. So I will run defense for you.
Right. So allegedly, it would be like, okay, that's $15,000 to collaborate with Despop, and then
In
I would
theory.
tell Despop, it's $500, bro.
And
Take
we
it or
follow
leave it.
So,
Yeah, be
Hey,
like,
that's
"Yeah, I'll
still-
do it for 500.
That's still double what Leviathan was allegedly.
yeah.
hey, that's more money than usual. Like, I don't.
Compulsive gun buyer for $5 says, very interesting discussion, guys. I popped in towards the end and gotta run now, but thanks for sharing. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. That is also Meteorite Concepts, if you're not familiar with that. Andrew Vachon has a very good point here. So if you're not familiar, Andrew sent me a Scar 17 to play around with. So he says, how much did I cost you by lending you my Scar? So far, only like $350 to $400. So it's actually not that expensive right now compared to what it will be by the time I'm done with it.
That's a cute video.
So yeah, it's 308, right? So it's like it is what it is, right? It's expensive. So T-Bird 8 for $5 says, did you see the Valhalla VFT video making fun of Trench? Yeah, that did not go well. I don't know if you're familiar with the Trench grenade thing, but he called out GBRS in a video, then Valhalla called him out, then Trench deletes his video, then calls out Valhalla, who's deleting his comments. It's a whole thing. I would enjoy for them very much to talk it out on a live stream, but that's probably never going to happen. But I did see that. Thank you for the $5. Yeah, I mean, I could talk to Valhalla, see what he thinks. A Yukon for $4.99 says, I literally do guns and cars. Yeah, this is the two of the most expensive YouTube careers to choose.
Yukon, when are you going to put guns on cars? That's my question. When we get to technical.
Uh-oh. The watch Leviathan literally killed him. Oh, wait, is he back?
Did I die?
I think I'm back.
No. Joe froze for just a perfect second, like right as you asked him. Yeah.
Oh.
They almost got you, man. All right, so let's before we finish off, let's talk about the termination. So again, Leviathan has a stipulation in there where if they don't offer you something for 6 months, or if you deny everything for 6 months, they can terminate the contract. So they had been essentially offering you either nothing or scams towards the last half of the contract.
Yeah,
If I remember correctly.
we got one email offer, one offer after the SDI thing that we did, and it was for some like Man, what is it? Is it like the Safari? Something Safari. They like ripped off Safariland's name because they put Safari in it, but it was like a freaking holster, like a belly band holster.
Oh,
Not Vanish. Maybe it was Vanish. I think it was like Vanish holsters with the belly band holster, but they were charging like $200 for it or whatever. I was just like,
well,
you
they're
can buy
not
that.
doing great. Yeah, they're not doing great with their SEO because I looked up Safari belly holster and it did not pop up.
Yeah, they were doing some giveaway. Maybe it's Vanish.
I'm gonna try and get my hands on one of the Vanish. Apparently, they have one of the laser dry fire things, like what we reviewed on the Rumble stream. Apparently, they're giving one of those out with the purchase of their exclusive Vanish holster. It's like $200 or something like that. You get the dry fire trainer mechanism and the Vanish holster all in one.
That is not a lot of nylon for over $130 regular, not on sale.
So that was what, yeah, and it's just like a bad. That's actually the redesign. Believe it or not, that's a better version than what it used to be, which is crazy. But it is. It's a better version than what it used to be. But yeah, we said no, obviously, because, bro, yeah, I'm not gonna shill that. Like I can't.
Yeah,
tell
they have
someone
these for $6.99 on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. You can get it. That's exactly what this is. It's just a, rebranded. Yeah. So I'm not about that. So we said no. And that was pretty much the only offer. And then we fixed that by, like I said, after them not doing it, Gideon, we just did it ourselves. And they got very angry. The phone call was much longer than the brief email, but as you can tell, I literally just went, very nice, have a good day. So like that was
right. So you were like, okay, they're not going to work with Gideon. We're going to go directly with Gideon and we'll just do it that way. And so they essentially terminated you. They terminated your contract under breach of contract.
Right. We apparently went
to them.
Yeah, because we didn't go to them for the contract with Gideon. That was like the whole reason they gave. And literally I'm on the phone with him at the time and he's just like, oh, well, what do you mean we didn't work with Gideon? I'm like, we've been trying to get with Gideon and they've told us now how many times. So who am I going to believe? Gideon Optics, the guys who I hang out with at every event that I'm pretty close with and like talk to, or my agent who says that they don't know what I'm talking about when I say that Gideon said they've reached out like 6 times and that this marketing package, and especially when I talk to other companies and they're saying that's the same deal. So yeah, I mean, I was just like, all right, well, if you're going to drop us, then drop us. Like, that's cool. I'm like, that's great. Cause we don't want to be with you guys. So,
well, yeah, they're actively getting in your way or trying to.
Right. And I mean, that's why like what we were holding out for was we had, the Creator Range Day was what we were going to go to in Texas. And they were our ticket into that Creator Range Day because you don't get an invite otherwise. Like we just didn't. So we were waiting for that and then we were going to drop them anyway, which is kind of like my own motives, right? But I wanted to go. Well, I was going to drop them after
that's the way it is, yeah.
And they dropped us before that, so we didn't go. And then, but the big thing was like, yeah, as I'm doing research and as I'm like discussing it with vendors and stuff where I'm like, hey, we probably wouldn't want to go through Leviathan, just hold out and we'll figure this out in, December when we're not with them anymore. And I'm finding out from them, they're like, oh, good, I'm glad you're not with them. And I'm starting to find out, oh, they're selling allegedly, this is all, verbal marketing packages promising X amount of money and promising videos to these brands from creators that they never deliver on. And I'm finding these huge numbers are what's being thrown around. And I'm just thinking, I'm like learning that I'm getting paid nothing. And I'm just like, wait a minute.
Right.
You're willing to spend this huge amount of money, but this is, and then I look at my contract and I'm realizing, oh, I'm like, you'd only get 10% if you negotiate it on my behalf. And then that's where I'm learning. That's why they're doing the marketing packages. And obviously it's not going too hot. Like I said, it's 3 dudes in a strip mall. Like that's what they're down to.
Well, so let's talk about it now. So they work out of like a little strip mall with like, think of it in theaters and what other shops are in there. And it's just a little hole in the wall marketing agency that is essentially just people answering emails. That's like literally it.
Yeah. Like 3 dudes. Like this Leviathan like is not this. There, everyone thinks like, oh, they're big and no, it's 3 dudes. the guy who flies out to all the events, Brandon. I think he pretends that he doesn't have any control, but if there's 3 people involved in a whole company, you can imagine that he probably has a lot of control over the company. So,
well, I mean, Jake is the CEO,
yes.
right? And Brandon does all like the actual like handling of people for the most part.
I think Brandon's the creator handling, and then Chris Wood is the other guy. Chris is the one who dropped us.
Mm. Well, yeah, you can't negotiate your own contract. How dare you get money outside of Leviathan?
Yeah, what a horrible thing for us to do after we didn't get contracts for 6 months. Like
well, and I mean,
like,
I don't even know about that. That's just strange to me because you tried to do it through them.
Yeah,
and then
that was where I was like,
so.
cool, like that's awesome, guys. And I think it was, the SDI thing was not a small hit. A lot of creators had to drop SDI as a result of that, and that was not what people didn't realize. And I mean, I realized it, but I don't really care because I think it's like a morality thing. I think if someone's shilling SDI as a valid school for becoming a master gunsmith, they're doing the wrong thing. If they're saying you can learn about gunsmithing, look into SDI, sure, whatever. Like, people can do their research. I still don't like it because they're not even trying to improve the system after we've talked about it. But I think us doing that hurt Leviathan a lot too, and they were kind of butthurt about that. So
well, yeah, I can imagine, right? Because they were throwing around a lot of money. Like SDI makes a lot of money because they charge, $25K per student, basically, whether that's, direct cash or through your GI Bill, harvesting, as some might say. They make a lot of money, so they can spend a lot of it on marketing to keep that money rolling in, right? Because it's not like they're paying, like we talked with some of their instructors. They're not paying the instructors all that much. The curriculum is like old or copy and paste from other places or like old YouTube videos and stuff. So it's like, where is the money? It's going to upper management, and then marketing are their 2 biggest expenses, like almost 100%. Guaranteed. Yeah. And then what should be, you'd think it would be a very financially stable company, Leviathan, because the model is not a lot of overhead. There's just a few people working that have friends, in different places, and they get in contact with companies and content creators, and they promise them both things that they may or may not actually end up delivering on.
Yeah. I think where they run into financial issues is the money gets spent, and I don't want to, this would be allegedly, but allegedly Jake would try to start companies or product lines in the firearms industry or outside of the firearms industry. This is all alleged. This would be in theory, he would do this. Like maybe order 20,000 pounds of tannerite that looks like candy and looks like it's in a candy bag because it's cool and hip. And then doesn't realize that you can't sell that because it looks like candy and it is an explosive. So maybe things like that happen more than once, and that is maybe that might be a thing that happens. And I'm guessing more than a few of those things occurred, and that's not a cheap, that's not a cheap whoopsie. Is it cool? Yeah. Is it cool to have like 20,000 pounds of tannerite that looks like candy, little candy things? Yeah, if you know it's not candy. If you're trying to sell it on a shelf, no, because it won't sell on a shelf because it looks like candy. Yeah. Oh, Vintage Warfare knows. He knows about the fruit nicks. Yeah, he knows about the fruit nicks. Okay, I'm glad he knows.
Gosh,
so I'm not the only one who knows that. Allegedly, fruit nukes. But yeah, things like that happened more than once, right? So that's funny. I love that Vintage knows about that. Yeah, they look like
well, I talked to Vintage a little bit today just because I was wondering if are you still with Leviathan or whatnot, but he hasn't had contact with them in a long time. So
yeah. That's Austin's cool, so that's funny. He knows about fruit nukes. Yeah. Let's see if I can find. Can I even find it?
Do you have a picture of these fruit nukes?
Oh yeah, at fruit nukes on Instagram.
Okay. That's funny. Well, also, the owner, Jake, if you look into him a little bit, let me see if I can pull up his Jacob James.
Oh, fruitnukes.com. They have him on their website.
Oh, let me pull this up. Wait, now will this get me nuked from YouTube if I pull this up on a live stream?
That's why I did the Instagram. Might be fine, right?
Leviathan Defense. Fruit nukes. Oh shoot, wrong button. Wrong button. Gosh dang it. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'll show it. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't
Fruit
know.
nukes. Reactive targets, £1, $9. I want totally rad. Can I get that? $65.
Get them.
Nice. That's amazing. The fruit nukes. Who would have thought? Nice. Aim here. That's cool. That's cute. Oh wait, no. It's sorry. It didn't switch tab. There it is.
Anyway, it looks like candy. So
Right. Just, could you imagine that being right next to like
Yeah.
in some department store somewhere?
it's a binary explosive. Like no one's gonna look at a shelf next to tannerite and be like, "Oh, that looks like it's also tannerite," you know? So allegedly things like that occurred. Also, if you know, Leviathan makes firearms. So they have like their own firearms line.
Right. Is that part of the Leviathan defense thing?
Yep. They've got a bunch of little knickknacks and paddywhacks, and it's really interesting that you see them not making successful products, which is funny because they're marketing agencies. You'd think that they would have very successful products.
I mean, if you just pull it up, like they have quite a few huge content creators on their front page. I mean, between the six of these guys, we're talking about almost 20 million subs. Jeez. But nope, don't look at firearms on a live stream.
Yep, those are bad.
But those are very bad. Those will get you in trouble unless you're like reacting to a movie where people are dying. That's fine.
Yeah, and we don't know what money gets spent on for events and personal paychecks and all that stuff. So the money has to be going somewhere, and it's not obviously going all to the creators, or even all but 10% going to the creators. So or
less, right? Because in some cases, like they're only paying you like they're paying you like pennies on the marketing package that people are buying, right? So yeah, Jake James, friend of Dave Bautista, which is funny because he's also super into like gun control stuff like that. But also, I looked this up earlier just because I thought it was funny. Loki Film Services, which is a I guess film marketing thing. So their catalog is quite strange, I would say. This one here I thought would be of particular interest to some people. One of us, just it's like a Amish Exodus but Jewish edition. So it's like following Hasidic Jews in New York, which is like super insular communities.
You actually get to see them expand their tunnels underneath the synagogue in it. So I've heard it's a really big it's a big viewer.
And it's a thriller too. So it's not like a documentary or like a mockumentary. It's like a thriller movie.
Which is funny. Yeah.
That is. So the gentleman is into a lot of different things. So I wonder if Leviathan is kind of just the financial.
Money has to be spent on things to make Yeah. I mean, I told you my background. Like, I know how much that stuff costs. I mean, dude, I made YouTube videos last year or 2 years ago now, and I think we were in it $25K a video a month for.
Oh, but okay. I was like, whoa,
no,
bro,
10
that's
videos,
amazing.
$25,000 a video. Yeah.
Like now you say that number, I'm like, where's the money going, bro? Like, is it all hookers and cocaine? What's going on behind the scenes?
Right. No, so they were animated, so that's a big thing. So designer designed the designs, and designers charge whatever they want. I edited for 2 weeks, and then I would do revisions for 2 weeks. And there's $25,000 because your designer takes $15K just to do anything.
I mean for certain movies or whatnot, if you want to get really into like the animation stuff, it's like $1 million a minute.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and stuff like all those Netflix documentaries and all that. I mean, I know the guy who does most of it. I've worked with him a lot, and that's who we hired for these. And yeah, I mean, he's not cheap. So
yeah,
people don't realize how much these things cost to produce. And then, like I said, I made 10 videos, and I mean, the videos did really well, but yeah, we were in $25K for a YouTube video, and that was like on a budget because I was grinding my axe doing the editing and the production work. So
right,
like,
you were literally doing everything else, right?
Literally 2 people. Yeah, it was David Wave and me. Like that was what it was. Like,
yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why Hollywood is in such a strange place, and people think like CGI is getting worse or whatnot. But then like
Randy reviews it. I don't feel bad for $25K a year I spent on YouTube. That's funny.
Yeah, it's because that to me is like, yeah, that's crazy. Like I would spend 25K in a year, basically. I think that is what I spent last year, 25K, mostly in ammunition because I didn't. Have
I'm
to
a little
buy
above that.
much stuff.
Yeah.
I
think I spent. Well, I mean, I spent $7,000 this week. So.
Oh, there you go. That's that's a little chunk of change for sure
On YouTube. Yeah.
Vintage Warfare, that's just funny, says, Focus, are you Jewish? No. Clan Campbell from Scotland. In line to the throne through the Duke of Argyll, if you want to know. But yeah. Anyways, moving on from that. Let's finish up here. Unless there's anything else that you want to get through on Leviathan.
No, I think that's it.
It's
just like why they're having a mass exodus, right?
I do have one thing to add. During the course of the interview here, I had someone text me who works still with Leviathan. He asked that I keep his name off. He said, quote me anonymously. Leviathan has always been fair to me personally, and there are a lot of things that he's not saying about how they help support their creators. Don't believe everything you hear. That's what he wanted me to add, so I told him I would.
Very cool.
Okay, I think I know who that is, but so I won't say who it is, but that is yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I'm if that's who it's from, I think it is, then I'm kind of skeptical of that. But thank you for your input, kind sir.
Yep.
Thank you for your input. I'm not being dishonest in any way. I actually forwarded Trip all the emails. So
yeah,
I got him. I got him too.
Yeah. I was gonna say you guys could tell them like I literally sent you my emails. They if they support other creators that way, then that's awesome. They do not.
Well, it's
us.
like
so, like
you can't. That's the thing where I'm like, you can't tell me that like no, that they're fair and they never do anything wrong when multiple people leave for the same reason, right? Like Hootie Who is just here and he left them years ago being like, yeah, they were screwing me over, you know, because they were paying me a couple $100 for an ad read and they were paying smaller guys like $2,000 for the same thing. So he's like, yeah,
Guns and Gadgets. Guns and Gadgets. Jared and Johnny B and what's the other one? Armed Scholar. I can't think of his name right now. But I think they were all with Leviathan at one point in time and then left them citing similar complaints and issues as far as difficult dealing with them, difficult getting paid. Timelines weren't what they said that they were supposed to be. It wasn't what it was actually written in the contracts. Basically, a lot of the same issues that you're presenting here. So, I mean, I do appreciate you coming on and not only just coming on, but sending us the details on the back for us to independently verify.
Well, I think the big thing too, like as a I would still think we're really small creators, but even when we were super small, we didn't know there were other options than Leviathan, you know?
Well, that was the one, right?
That was the one. And now there's other options. And so like, you know, I told you we're with Boostcraft, but there's like, I've got like a list. There's a bunch of other content creator agencies out there and they're all way more transparent. So they will tell you like, this is how much money we are making from this deal. And when I worked with Rufo, and he's okay with me telling them that, when we do a negotiation with his agency, they were like, yeah, we are taking getting him money. He just didn't want to touch it, have to worry about it. But they're really honest. They're not like, oh, we could be taking 10%. Like, oh no, they're like, we're taking 50% of this. Do you want it? And I think that's how it should be. So it's really interesting that, yeah, the numbers aren't there, you know? So the one we work with now, I'm like, obviously I'm really like on edge about it. But they're really honest. And that's a big thing for me is like, dude, I'm okay with someone making money on my behalf because I don't have to reach out to these brands. But most of the time I do reach out to the brands because I don't want to work with someone we don't know. Anyway.
Well, yeah. And I think we're both aligned in that. Like, I would not have a problem with being with somebody who reached out to companies for me. Like that's kind of what Richard does, honestly. Like he'll reach out to people and companies like for me for different things, and I don't have to touch it, right? Because he knows that I'm not going to touch a bad product, and I'm not going to like I don't want to get screwed over in the deal, right? Whatever it happens to be, right?
Yep.
So as long as you do those two things, like I don't have a problem with people making money. Like even if you told me Garantham made $25 million for talking about primary arms optics, cool. Okay.
Like,
right?
yeah, we have to make it's like this. There was for a while this stigma that we weren't supposed to make money off of YouTube, but it's also like, dude, at some point I need to not work full time to pay all my extra money into making YouTube videos. Like I have to make money off of this.
So even from a viewer perspective, I would rather somebody that I enjoy watching content from be able to be supported in doing what he loves so that I can get more content and information from him, especially if I think his content is informational, is good. Like I literally want him to do that more. So
yeah,
like, as long as you don't literally sell your soul, like please continue doing what you're doing.
Like I said, I want to know. So it's going to be only companies we have a relationship with. And I don't know how long the Kraken agency is going to stay, but they are very, so I'll be very interested to see even now.
We missed some of that, but I get the gist of what you were saying there. You were roboting in and out a little bit.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, I'll be surprised if they stick through even to the end of this year. And then I didn't see them at SHOT Show at all. So I'm not sure if anyone else did, but they weren't as big of a presence because you go to these events, you can't not run into them, so.
All right. COD says, yeah, I see him in there. We'll get to him in just a second. COD for $2 says, is French desktop called Pupitre Éclater? Is that how you say that?
I'm not going to try because French people get offended when you mess up. So,
well, it would help if they didn't have a fake language. So, Mitchell Black for $100. Yeah. We only listen to winners around here, son. Mitchell Black for $199 says, "Bring Trench back. Chat craves fresh meat." Careful what you wish for. Jake for $199 says, "Joe, better watch out when GT is around." His type. He likes the twink aesthetic. Is that what
I'm not ovulating. I think I'm good still.
Yeah. So. He can smell it. He'd be at your door right now.
He can smell it.
Pariah Group for $1 says nothing. Thank you, sir. COD again says Desktop and Hop would be a cute lesbian couple. And I think somebody else put in the chat it'd be Desktop. Desktop. That would be the name of your power couple. Yeah. Desktop. Yukon for $9.99 says it's been done. 1986 Yoda with a high-speed lead fondler. Sounds like something Garantham's into. Then I sold it. Desktop, you should come play out here. Windex is coming out soon. Would be even more fun and whatnot with you. Heart, face, smiling. Leviathan Hitman for $4.99. He's back. He says, financially stable. Hookers and blow cost dollars, bro. Yeah. It ain't cheap riding this hard. Jake for $199 says USPSA BOD okay with Troons. Sorry, not to say a slur, with Troons shooting in ladies division. Yeah, I did see something about that they were letting transgender individuals perform in the division that they felt most comfortable with. So
bro, I gotta join the women's then.
I was about to say, as a new female grandmaster myself.
Yeah, literally, wow.
I was asking
how to GM fast. Like that's how you GM fast.
Yeah. No, just show up in a wig and drag, and there you go. In Washington, it wouldn't even be that weird.
It's true.
Yeah, nobody would look twice.
Yeah, Bulge Deep became a new member. Overton Windex says this just in from Anonymous. Wahahaha. Yeah, the Anonymous doesn't hit quite as hard. Leviathan Hitman says, we've seen Trip in tight shorts. He's definitely not Jewish. And the funny thing is, I don't even know what he means by that. No idea.
I know
that could go either way. That could go either way. I don't know. Olperton Windex for $5 says, "Believe me, not him." It's like, yeah, I do tend to believe that people who show their face and come online and talk about things and have evidence and contracts and
Well, I'm not saying
different
anything
things.
like wild either. I feel like it's very like reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, after seeing the back end, it's that's all I gotta say.
The back end, you say?
Yeah,
Avocado Atrocity for $4.99 says, "Hi to Joe for me, please." Hi, Joe.
Avocado's the best, dude. That guy's on all of our posts. He's
Yeah.
like been here forever.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing is seeing people from basically everything follow you around and do different things. It's cool. People like to hang out, like to watch your content. It's nice. CK for $1.99 says nothing, drops it on the table, walks away. Thank you very much, sir. And Josh, to finish out, says for $5, is Craymaster Battern part of Leviathan? Did you make me say something silly there, or is that a real name?
I can promise you this isn't like one of the times where they had you reading lyrics to Erica.
Oh, yeah, that was quite funny. I was like, what is going on here?
I think they wanted you to read it a different way. So
Oh, I see. Is Cremaster Batten? You gotta space out the words differently, I think. But is Cremaster Batten part of Leviathan? It's probably in the employee handbook, but I cannot confirm that. I haven't seen it. All right. Nimda says, "Okay, it's been fun. I'm making my Nim exit. My Nexit. All right. Well, Nimda, you have a great night, sir. All right, Joe. Before we get out of here, any final thoughts, sir? The final thoughts
I
of a
don't think
robot.
so. I think for anyone who's like new and creator, oh man, is it doing it?
You were silent for like
There you
10
go.
straight
Is it better
seconds,
now?
but you're
That's
back.
so
You're
funny.
back now. Yeah.
And then it just went. I'm gonna give it all. No, I think for any like new creators that are watching, there's more options than Leviathan Group probably, and I don't know. I see some comments of people who are like they want us to do like cheap reviews and like poor reviews. So like I saw one for Delta. My big fear with like stuff like that is now that we're not with Leviathan, I think we can do it because my fear is like something will work. And this is always something will work for me or it'll be a good product and I'll be like, it will run even though it's not the best and everyone will call us a shill. And so it's cool to, the big thing for us is like we always set that standard that we're going to be honest no matter what. And then if I buy a cheap product and it somehow is good, I will tell people like it's good. And
right.
We just want to be able to say that.
That's always the rough thing about reviewing like really, not necessarily sketchy or inexpensive stuff, but stuff that you're not sure about. And so even if you buy like 2, 3, 4 of them, you're like, well, hey, mine did pretty good. But I can't say the same about, what you're about to buy, especially if like 100 of you buy product off of my review, I can't really vouch for all of those.
I can't speak for it, which, which I have. I mean, with the O-Lite thing, the O-Site, because everyone kept swearing by it, I bought 4 of them. Like, I did my best, guys. I don't know. They're bad.
Well, it's like, listen, guys, unless I'm just taking all the bad ones for you, like they're literally just shipping them all to me so that they go to nobody else.
Yeah, literally.
Oh.
I just want to know, were you holding out for the Houston Jones collab? That's what I really want to know.
I really like Houston, and it's just never worked out. But yeah, I have a collab idea with him. I want to do the Burna less lethals, but we use them like it's an airsoft war, like the pepper ball guns, and we play airsoft with it. But he has yet to come through on that one. I think it'd be fun, and my boys are in for it. So people just watch us all get freaking pepper ball launched for 10 minutes, which I think would be fun. So.
Houston seems like he's quite the character. His content isn't specifically my speed, but some of the stuff that he does, and he's got a great sense of humor. Like some of the stuff he does is fun to watch, but some of it's a little strange. But
he's insane.
Yes.
But he's a really great guy, and I think that we would have a lot of fun. So
yeah, he does seem pretty wholesome for the type of content that he does, strangely enough.
Well, and that's kind of the nice thing about having like wacky content creators that do like different things. Like even if it's not something that I'm into, it's cool to see people doing it, right? All right. Well, Richard, do you got anything for us before we hop on out?
The only thing I want to say is thanks to Joe for coming on and giving us the time. I want to tell chat to hit the like button on their way out the door and to go and subscribe to Focus Clips. That's the second channel. I take clips from the live stream and post them in shorter, more bite-sized segments. So go subscribe and go watch content. Go consume.
Heck yeah. That reminds me, I have to pay Richard for this month. So
Oh.
thanks for reminding me.
Gives me money. Gives me money.
All right.
I
Well,
need money.
speaking of money, Axiom. Yeah, Richard runs the Clips channel. He does all that. So go check it out. So I don't have to do it. Axiom for $2 says, DP, how much hate did you get for the stock video? I thought that was a great video. I don't know why anybody would hate you for that one.
Yeah. None from people, lots from several companies. So the repercussions have hit us, and we don't know if they'll keep hitting us. I unintentionally made the Kate Moss guy really mad, which is funny because I was really calling out JMac on that video for the $340 stocks. Kate Moss stocks are at least thick. They're still not worth $300. But he got really mad, and he is the head of engineering at oh man, my brain's blanking. Some other manufacturer that we really like, and we met the guys, and we really like them, and we were gonna do a video on their gun, and I have not heard from them since. So it may have cost me a really cool gun that I wanted to do a video on, and now I'll just have to figure out a way to buy it. So,
well, that's lame. That's super lame.
You know,
I hate that sort of thing.
Like yeah, and it's funny because when I make the videos, I'm never calling out companies. I'm just calling out like the product. You know, like there's no beef like with JMac or the Kate Moss guy. I don't have. I like them as people. I just don't agree with their way overpricing markup, and it's crazy that there's just this personal attack felt from me just saying that something's too expensive.
That's the thing in the gun industry. Like it feels like everybody takes things personally because it's like, sorry, your 12 ounces of aluminum is not valued at $300.
Yeah, literally. Sorry, I can do the math on machine time and tell you that it took 45 minutes to machine that aluminum stock, and therefore cost you approximately like $45 to $60 per, because you can make 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on it, you're right, because we could break down shop rates and all that other sort of fun stuff. Because I mean, it's not. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but
no, I could have done that on the video, and I didn't because I just thought it was funnier to just be like, anyway, the cheap ones work.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. After you posted
surprise! If you machine something out of aluminum in the same shape as another thing, like it works kind of the same.
It's aluminum. Who would have thought?
Yeah, we went through a lot of the AliExpress stuff after your video dropped, and we found specific brand name GBRS risers and stuff on AliExpress for like $24.
$24 for the risers.
They work. Yeah. We're gonna do a video on those as well. I found a much more technical way to measure stuff. So
I will have to send you this, but there's also a company making knockoff attackers, the Night Force attackers 1-8s for like $199. So I thought about getting a couple of those for the channel, which would be funny. But yeah,
is it spec
something like that? I don't remember the exact name of it. I'd have to look it up again. Somebody sent it to me, and I was like, I gotta do something with that. That's too good of an opportunity to pass up. Yeah,
I would try that. Yeah.
I just want to know if we can get a commitment from you to actually do the Sheepdog Response parody video with Tactical Santas that was there.
Yeah, that's right. The one with the mechanic and the
it's
no, just
shadow systems. I have to buy a Canic and a Shadow Systems to do it, but I'll do it 100%.
Okay, yeah, because that'll be a fun video, and just the entire thing needs to be like B-roll of the Magwell and Mag.
I think it'd be hilarious.
Just
I would do it. Yeah,
print out the transcript. Print out the transcript, word for word parody of the exact thing. Just make it extremely more annoying. Oh, that would be hilarious.
Not word for word. Yeah, you gotta like make it like a thirst trap, like just douse the whole thing in lube, like inserting the magazines or something like that.
Pull John Lowell.
Yeah,
it'll be good. Yeah, I saw that short too. Yeah, the John Lowell short where he just dumps lube in it.
Yeah.
He released one for his AR. He did the same thing, and he put he put so much lube inside of the gas ports in the bolt carrier group.
I mean, that's the thing one could do. No, dude, like when it comes to ARs, it's funny. People have like the entire thing is just coated in grease. I've seen people do that as well.
Yep.
If that's what you're into, that's fine. That's fine.
Whatever makes it run.
Grantham.
Yeah. No, that's different lube, different application.
A different
Moving
company.
on. PX 1061 for $5 says any chat without that retard trunch grenade is kind of a letdown. Well, you guys are not nice to him. He did not. He was not happy with you, but he'll come back. He'll come back, especially if we get Valhalla on here. Tusk the Third for $4.99 says, has anyone ever pooped a balloon? Asking for a friend in Scranton. That's not my repertoire of knowledge, good sir. But I hope you have a good luck with that.
Well, asking for a friend in Scranton. I think Joe Biden said he was from Scranton, so I'm going to bet if anybody has pooped a balloon, it will probably be him.
Yeah. All right, and with that out of the way, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me actually set something up here, which is a good outro for the video. All right, perfect for this. And you all have a wonderful night. I will see you later, and God bless.
You're a retarded faggot.